Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I very welcome my friends and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching and welcome to Wednesday's edition of the dceu Daily. And if you're feeling really charitable, please smash the subscribe button, smash the like button and walk all the way over to Twitter, making sure you're 2 meters apart, of course, and follow me at Movies TV Mad. So I've got a little shout out for Jessix at True DC Fanboy 1. Now this is a DM that I got sent. Actually, he's a fanboy. I was going to say I wasn't sure if it's a male or a female, but it's a fanboy, right? So Mick, another upcoming little tweet event for the release, the Snyder Cut, but it'll be hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League. Please feel free to mention this on your next DCEU Daily. Would really appreciate it. Well, there you go. I've just mentioned it. Now, the problem is I don't know if this has already happened. You didn't give me a date, so I'm not quite sure. But please let me know when this is happening so I can be involved in this. So why won't Cathy Yan have another opportunity to be involved with the DCEU, to make this sequel she's been going on about? Because Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn wasn't so fantabulous. As I say, it's an entertaining enough movie that you can put in your DCEU collection, but it's a machine gun of hatred. It's a machine gun of hatred towards men. You see, the extreme left in Hollywood tell us they want representation, they want everyone represented, they want more love rather than hate. But what are they actually displaying is actually hatred for men. And nothing gets sold on that platform. Because what happened with the Birds of Prey movie was that men and women both said, no, we are not going to go and see this movie. Grace Randolph was right. I don't like Grace Randolph. I think she's a big problem on the YouTube platform and the community, the way she stirs people up. But she was right. I know this for a fact. She was right when she leaked the fact that the diamond that actually Black Mask was after had actually this kind of computerized chip of his, shall we say, sausage pics that he'd sent someone, right? So the whole commentary there, like the rest of the film, is that men are toxic and men send pictures and videos of their sausage, that's what we're going to call it, right, to women who don't ask for them. Shall I tell you a little secret? Men only send those things when women ask them to. Do you know how many nudes I get from women all the time? And I don't ask for those nudes. Am I going to make a film? Am I going to make a video displaying toxic femininity? Of course not. But this is where we are now. This is where we are. A film built on hate. They couldn't do that. They had to cut it out of the film. It was never mentioned again because once Grace did the video and the public reaction was so inflammatory, they had to stop it. They were sat down. They were exposed, as the extreme left are all the time. Because, as I've said before, extremism in any shape or form, whether it's the left or right, is hate. And hate only hurts the hater. And this is what happens. And ultimately, the tirade for hate against men in the Birds of Prey movie hurt its profit margin. But Walter Hamada always knew this. But he also knew he had to give Margot Robbie what she wanted. And he did. I wonder whose idea it was to make it R-rated. One of the biggest mistakes the studio ever made. Or did the studio decide to make it R-rated so it could fail? I don't know. I do know one thing. Why would a studio, by the way, want it to fail, Mick? I don't know. I don't know. I do know that Cathy Yan got herself in an almighty mess because she was not qualified to make a movie of this level. Her stunts and her action sequences were so ordinary and bland. They had to bring in Chuck Bolesky or whoever the guy's name is who does the John Wick stunts and action sequences, right? The action choreography. And he did a great job, as we saw, because she couldn't do it. If it wasn't for Warner Brothers' intervention, not interference, that film would have been a bigger mess and it would have made less money. So that's why she's never ever going to get the sequel she's petitioning for, going around talking to her media friends, right, who are talking the film up. Now, I read an article to you a couple of days ago about this, about her going around trying to get this done, where the kind of commentary by the journalist said, I don't think that Task Force X is going to really grab the audience by storm. I think that the Suicide Squad movie by James Gunn's The Suicide Squad movie, is going to do really well. And I think we are never going to see a better version of Harley Quinn than we will under James Gunn. And that's why I'm already demanding that James takes control of this character. When we see what he's done with the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, right? It's amazing. I've spoken to James on social media briefly. He's very, very excited. I've spoken to you. I've shown you the tweets. I've read the tweets out to you, the exchanges me and James had, not just only on Twitter, but on Instagram as well. Really nice, friendly guy. He did a tweet along for Guardians of the Galaxy. Unfortunately, because of the timings in America, I was asleep. I'm reading and retweeting the tweets now. Amazing. Amazing man. And this is the man the fandom menace tried to destroy. And they got him the sack from the MCU. But what happened then was something very pivotal and important. Because if they didn't get him off that movie, he wouldn't have been able to do the Suicide Squad. And that was one of the key core decisions that Walter Hamada made. Now, all of a sudden, James Gunn is talking about unity between Marvel fans and DC fans. He's doing this and he's saying this because he wants to work on both franchises. This would be a groundbreaking thing. We know that Joss Whedon failed to try and do that. But Joss Whedon's one thing and James Gunn's another. And I think that James is a very talented man. One thing you can say about Kevin Feige, he chose his people very well. And they brought him back to finish his trilogy. Of course, James was very clever and aggressive, made sure there was no way they could even touch Guardians of the Galaxy 3 without him. So he got to finish his baby. If only Dick Donner could have been able to do that. If only Zack Snyder would have been able to do that. And Zack Snyder has tried his best, right? But Cathy Yan is never going to get that sequel she wants. Never. Because you don't build a franchise on hatred. We're seeing it now with comics and comic shops. We're seeing what they're doing with Marvel comic brands now. It's hurting the platform. We've seen the New Warriors thing, right? It doesn't help, does it? When you build things on hatred and you do things on purpose to cause a storm, it doesn't work. Cathy Yan thought that Harley Quinn, or should I go back and say this, because Cathy Yan didn't employ herself. Margot Robbie purposely hired Cathy Yan for specific reasons. None of those reasons were on talent. There's no question about that. Now, Cathy Yan is obviously a very, very good creative and director from her other projects, right? We know this. But there's one thing doing indie movies, and there's another thing taking something as big as this and building it on hatred for one gender. In this case, men. And this is what Margot Robbie wanted to do. She didn't just want a girl gang movie. She didn't want to show how great girls can be together. She called it the emancipation. Not just the emancipation from Joker, but women's emancipation away from men. They don't need men. You don't need men. Nobody needs anyone in life. But isn't it better to be unified? Isn't it great to push messages of unity rather than division? And that's what Birds of Prey tried to do. And the audience are not stupid. Now, the extreme left tried to cancel Todd Phillips' Joker movie around a year ago, right? Do you remember that? Do you remember they tried to tell us if we go to the cinema, we're going to get killed? Or toxic males are going to start getting their guns out? Do you remember that? Do you remember what happened? Nothing. Well, something did happen. The movie made $1 billion. R-rated, no China, $1 billion, right? I think this movie did get China, didn't it? I can't remember. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But whatever. This film was R-rated like the Joker, and its audience figures were not very good. It made a profit. It did okay. It's not a disaster for Warner Brothers, but it's not what they wanted it to do either. You see, Margot Robbie saw the popularity of her performance in the Suicide Squad film David Ayer's Suicide Squad, by the way, and his depiction of her. And she saw how popular that became, and she thought she could do this film, build it on hatred for men, and get away with it, and push her extreme left messages, her hatred for men. And it failed, because no matter how popular you are, nobody is going to embrace hatred. You see, the Joker movie wasn't about hatred. It was about a mentally ill man in the 80s, and it had the commentary of how this man was just left in the gutter and kicked and kicked and kicked. And it showed the consequences of when society let people just leave people in the gutter and what can happen, the consequences on our society. But the extreme left decided to translate it another way, that this was making excuses for violent men. Of course it wasn't. This wasn't an excuse movie. It shows what happens when we dump people, when we leave them for dead. And people understood this. They understood what an important movie it was. Not just for DC, not just for the Joker character, but the commentary of mental illness. Because one of the biggest, highest death rates in the world is male suicide. But the extreme left don't want to make a commentary about that. They want to talk about how men treated women badly 30, 40, 50, 60 to 100 years ago. I can't deny it. But you don't build hatred upon hatred. It doesn't solve anything. You have more females in films, in responsible positions, and in heads of studios. That's wonderful, as long as they're able to do it and they're qualified to do it. That is great. That even shouldn't be a big deal. It should be automatic, right? But what you don't do, you don't put a director like Cathy who was not capable of making a good movie, or a movie to the level that we expected, because it's not. That movie has a lot of problems. And I stuck up for this movie at first when everyone was hating on it, mainly because the fandom menace were going for it, and that put my back up. But now I can be honest, because Cathy, you are never, ever going to get your sequel. James Gunn will now be responsible for this character, because I tell you what, Cathy, when we see James Gunn's Harley Quinn, she's going to be amazing. She's going to be the Harley from the comics. She's going to be amazing, and she's going to be awesome, because she's not built on hatred, because Harley Quinn was never a feminist character. She is not. There isn't more of an anti-feminist character. This is a criminal psychologist who literally goes mad and is manipulated by this man, the Joker, and she likes it. And she wants to kill for him. This man is the man she's been waiting for all her life. Because this mental break that she has, that the Joker triggers, was always going to happen, right? But they twisted it in Birds of Prey around. It's all the Joker's fault. Everything's a man's fault. Renee Montoya didn't get the promotion she should at the police station. It's the men's fault, right? Everything's men's fault. They're trying to create divisions all the time. And I don't want to see my characters from the DC universe used in this manner. Because DC characters and superheroes in general, whether they come from DC or Marvel, are about unity, heroism. Whether they're men, women, people of colour or minorities, it doesn't matter. These are people, characters, fictional characters that we look up to. They're heroes. And this was a problem with Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel has always been a symbol of unity, just like Captain America has been. But Brie Larson and Disney and Marvel Studios made her into the symbol of hate. Not necessarily within the movie, but the marketing and the promotion of the movie. And we saw what happened there. So we see that type of hatred. And then we go back to the Ezra Miller thing, the whole 7-second jokey throttling thing, because that's all it is. And we look at the people in our Release the Snyder Cut community in a different way now. I still haven't seen any reaction or defence of the member of our family who is Ezra Miller. I'm one of the few people who's come out and been honest. I don't see this honesty from anyone else. They've used the news to make money, to get clicks and to get likes and to get super chats. But when it came to it, they showed that they're not really true fans of Zack Snyder or the DC Universe. Every time there's some Snyder Cut news, they do a video to make money. And they're not in it for the love of Zack or to get Zack justice or for the love of the DC universe. I started this video because I love DC. I started these videos to do that. I started this channel because of that. I have, 800 or so DC fans following me, a few Doctor Who fans. Who knows whoever else, right? But at the end of the day, you know I'm not in this to make money. I'm nowhere near making money for this platform. Nowhere near. It's probably never going to happen because toxicity sells. And I don't sell toxicity. As you well know, I sell love. Love of films, love of television, love of creativity. You know that. You know me. You know what I'm here to do. And this is why I'm so offended by the people, the prominent members of the Release the Snyder Cut community, who I thought were part of the family. But they're not. They've been talking about things like Ezra being replaced. Over 7 seconds of joke footage, right? Stock footage. That's it. It was a joke. Nothing's happened. Nothing is going to happen. I think it must kill them that he's still the Flash. It must kill them that this film hasn't been cancelled and won't be cancelled. It must kill them that Amber Heard is still Mira. And she will continue to be Mira. Because what she does in her private life is nothing to do with her professional life. Am I saying that Amber Heard should have been cast as Mira in the first place? Is she a great actor? Not necessarily. But she did a good job and she does her bit. And I think she should remain. She's the face of Mira now. I'd love to see her as Mira in a standalone movie. I think she's great. I think she worked. I think she showed the compassion and the strength and the raw abilities that Mira has. And I don't want to see that replaced. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard had a toxic marriage. They're both to blame for that. It's neither one person's fault or the other. I don't care about your marriage, Amber and Johnny. Fill your boots. I don't care. But I do care about these people remaining in these roles because it makes sense. And I don't want to see Amber Heard replaced because her and Johnny Depp had a toxic marriage. I don't want to see Ezra Miller replaced because all the vultures are seeping in. I mean, our friend, well, not our friend really, John Campier, did a poll on Twitter. He only gave 2 options, replace or cancel the movie, not keep Ezra. What a surprise, because he knows if the choice was given to keep Ezra, that would have been the part of the poll that would have won. Be honest. Be honest. If you already loved Ezra, you still love him. If you had an agenda against him, or say you're Pagey, right, who loves the CW DC universe and wants Grant Gustin to replace him, then you have an agenda, right? Don't get me wrong. Grant Gustin is one of the great actors. He's too good to be on that horrible network, right? I absolutely admit that. And he would be a great movie Flash. And they could have done that, but they didn't. But at the end of the day, toxicity and hatred sells. But if I live to be 100 doing these videos, I will never, ever, ever sell toxicity to you. All I will do is expose the people selling the toxicity and show you my love and enthusiasm for Superman and Batman and other characters. And sometimes I'll do videos about Marvel because I like those characters too. I have opinions about the MCU, of course I do, and you know what those opinions are. But I still love those characters. But predominantly, I'm a DC fan. And predominantly, this guy behind me, Superman, is everything I aspire to be in my life. And Superman would never try to destroy someone after 7 seconds of footage. Superman would go there, realise it was a joke, and maybe put his arm around Ezra and say, maybe that's not very funny, and maybe you shouldn't have done that. And maybe Ezra would just nod his head, give him a fist bump, and that'll be that. We do not destroy people's careers. Yesterday, Jeremy on Geeks and Gamers was congratulating that Star Wars girl, Anna, for breaking the story. I don't congratulate you, Anna. You tried to destroy a man's career for no reason. You are not a good person. You are not the nice, lovely girl I thought you were. You are a major disappointment. And you joining that fraternity just sums you up and who you are. And that's very sad. There'll be a good place in hell for you. But you keep on making money for yourself and for Jeremy and the rest of them. While you sell love and toxicity. Sorry, start again. While you sell hatred and toxicity, I will sell love. But I will always make sure that we know where we are. I want you to know who you can trust. I know you can trust me. But now you're looking at the other Release the Snyder Cut YouTubers and prominent members that you thought you could trust. And not one of them stood up on a video or on a post on a tweet and said, I'm with Ezra. They didn't do that. And there was no reason not to do that. It means what you suspect. They are fakes, they are frauds, and they're only in this for the green. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Dailies. See you again soon.